Stop saying that or someone's gonna kill me. I think that's a right. That probably means you've got an effective line. I think. Awesome. Awesome. Let's go. It's facts too. If Keir brings down train ticket prices, he will be the greatest PM of all time.
Then mark my words, we will fight you with everything we have, because you are the enemy of national renewal.
I will say, look, I'm a real Labour supporter, okay? I actually fist bumped the Indian cashier at the off license today. He's using dangerous, like, he wants me dead. Keir wants me dead. You're the enemy of the people, Nigel. Enemy of the fucking people. Guys, I kind of just want to get into the Starmer speech. I'm going to be real. I've got high hopes. I've got quite high hopes. I haven't seen it yet. I've not seen a moment. I've not even seen a minute of this Keir Starmer speech yet. It is what I get for going out drinking. That is facts. NHK? That's facts. Dude, I've got a really good feeling. I have a really good feeling about this Keir Starmer speech, okay? Because I woke up today, I'm listening to Sky News, and they say it's Keir Starmer's best speech ever. I'm like, okay. He doesn't exactly have a lot of good speeches, but that's promising. And then what do I see? I see Reform spazzing out. So, Farage is posting, I used to think Keir was a decent man. And Zia Yusuf, this scumfuck, this absolute fucking shucking and jiving, fucking minstrel show ass fucking traitor to his people. Zia Yusuf saying, Starmer and his goons know what they're doing. Stochastic terrorism describes how mass-mediated hostile public rhetoric can incite random, statistically predictable... Dude. Starmer's doing stochastic terrorism on you? Like, is this about the battle for the soul of the nation? Is that what they're talking about? Is that what they're mad about? Is the battle for the soul of the nation? Is that what they're seething about? Is that what they're seething about? Because that's based. That's true. You've spent the last 10 fucking years, at least, Reform, you know, members generally, Nigel Farage and co, going on about invasions, fighting age males. It's fucking endless. Sharia law, constantly ratcheting up the temperature, constantly ratcheting up how fearful people are for their lives. Tommy Robinson's inviting Elon Musk onto a big screen in London to say violence is coming for you. And you're mad that Keir said there's a battle for the soul of the nation. When that's just true. There is a battle for the soul of the nation. It's fighting age males of all backgrounds against a bunch of old, fat, alcoholic, child molesting, wife beating, degenerate fucking racists that want to rape this fucking country. That is the situation. And that is what's happening. There is a swathe of just total scum that is occupying our country and our politics right now. And want to drive us into the fucking dirt. Want to rape the NHS. Want to rape the working class. Want to deport fucking all of our fucking care staff. It's absurd. So yeah, it is a fucking battle. Okay, you are the enemy. You are literally... Zia Yusuf is the enemy of the people. Nigel Farage is the enemy of the people. Is the enemy of the fucking country. Enemy of the future of the country. It is like... so transparent, so obvious that these people are scum, filth, and it needs to be said. So I'm glad Keir has put these people on fucking watch. I can't wait to fucking see this. So. Dude, look at him clapping. Look at him clapping. I don't smoke cigarettes, I smoke rolling tobacco. I smoke GV.
Vegan, thank you, Pooja, by leading by example, so powerfully showed just on that video just now. And Margaret, thank you so much for that introduction. I know it wasn't easy, even after the unimaginable loss of losing James, after all those obstacles deliberately put in your way. With this Hillsborough law, you and the other families, some of them are with us this afternoon, and other campaigns.
Yeah, they're really focused on this Hillsborough law. I don't think Americans will know, like, the significance of Hillsborough, really. But basically, in, like, is it like the 70s or the 80s or something? I can't remember. It might even be the 90s, it might be later than that. But a long time ago, anyway, like 30, 40 years ago, there was this big fucking stampede at a football stadium. And a bunch of people got fucking trampled because the crowds were mismanaged by the police and shit like that. And it's like it's been a massive thing for a long time that the family struggled to get compensational justice and shit like that. 89, that's it.
Have served a degree of justice for James, for the 97, but also for thousands of people that you will never know and you will never meet, who will never now have to go through what you went through. Thank you. Thank you.
No, UK politics is great. UK politics is fun.
Margaret, I remember meeting you and some of the other families nearly 15 years ago now with Bishop James Jones. I was humbled to be able to campaign after such loss. As a father of a daughter aged 14 and a son aged 17 who goes to football with me, 1 year younger than James was, I honestly don't think I would have the courage to do what you have all done. I was also struck at that first meeting by meeting some family members who had never felt able to talk about what happened that day. Perhaps because they feared that people like them would never be heard. Conference, this party was founded to hear working class people like that, to look directly into the eyes of their suffering, even when the state turns its back. And so the Hillsborough law is not just a promise delivered, it is also a recognition that whether it's Hillsborough,
it was just a bunch of Eton school kids. There's like no, dude, there's like barely any fucking Eton left in Labour. What the fuck do you mean? It's not just Eton kids anymore. What are you talking about? That's just not true. We had fucking Angela Rayner as Deputy Prime Minister just now. Like literally 2 weeks ago. She was raised by an illiterate mother on a council estate.
Horizon, the grooming gangs, infected blood and so many more. The British state consistently refused to see injustice because of who the victims are. Because they're working class, they're black, they're women and girls. And so, Margaret,
Angela Rayner is
I know
cool,
we can
and they should
never
have let us stay.
undo
That's
the
facts.
pain.
Didn't Farage just get a fucking £1 million house that no one knows quite how he's paid for and he hasn't paid taxes on or some shit like that? Isn't that going on right now? Isn't there something about that? Yeah, he just bought like £1 million house in Clacton or some shit.
You and all the other families. But we can show that in the Britain that we are building, the state will see, the state will listen, the state will be accountable to working people, because now injustice has no place to hide.
Yeah, so we just got rid of Angela Rayner because of, like, not paying quite the right amount of tax. Farage faces questions over who funded £885,000 Clacton constituency home. Reform UK leader Nigel Farage faces pressure to account for how his partner paid for an £885,000 home after a BBC investigation raised further questions about his previous explanation. The Clacton MP has denied avoiding more than £44,000 in additional stamp duty on the purchase of the constituency home by putting it in his partner, Laura, I don't know how to say his fucking wife's name, Laura Ferrari, I don't know, name, so she bought it with her own funds. He suggested that she was able to buy the 4-bedroom home, which was bought without a mortgage, because she comes from a wealthy French family. However, the BBC has examined French property and company records and has been unable to find evidence that the Ferrari's parents have the means to give their daughter a significant contribution towards the purchase of the home. So this guy just seems to have appeared with a £1 million home that there's no record of him having the money for, bought in his wife's name, seemingly to avoid taxes. So, for some reason, this isn't getting... Nigel Farage is not getting dragged through the fucking mud for this. Angela Rayner was actually forced to quit.
In case people don't know who Nigel Farage is, could you pull up that picture of him crawling out of a crashed single-engine Cessna in a wheat field?
Yeah. Yeah, I can.
That's National Renewal Conference, government and working people working together to drag us out of decline, building a new Britain. Now, it's an urgent task. We can all see that the country faces a choice, a defining choice. Britain stands at a fork in the road. We can choose decency, or we can choose division, renewal or decline. A country proud of its values, in control of its future, or one that succumbs against the grain of our history to the politics of grievance. It is a test, a fight for the soul of our country. Every bit as big as rebuilding Britain after the war.
Fight for the soul of the country.
To this challenge.
So based. So based.
We need to be clear that our path, the path of renewal, it's long, it's difficult, it requires decisions that are not cost-free or easy, decisions that will not always be comfortable for our party. Yet at the end of this hard road, there will be a new country, a fairer country, a land of dignity and respect, everyone seen, everyone valued, wealth creation in every single community, working people in control of their public services, the mindless bureaucracy that chokes enterprise removed so we can build and keep building, clean British energy powering our homes, technology harnessed to drive us forward, our flags flying proudly as we celebrate difference and oppose racism.
Sargon posted a video saying this is war. Dude, it's like this is why I think it is working. I think that the whole battle for the soul of the country and the like Gavin Newsom stuff where he's calling Stephen Miller a fascist and they start, I think it is working. I think it's a sign that you're on the right track when the other side starts saying, you can't say that, you're trying to get me killed. You can't say that, I'm gonna get killed. Stop saying that or someone's gonna kill me. I think that's a right, that probably means you've got an effective line, I think. But I don't understand how they can suddenly turn around and go, oh, this is war. This is war. When you've been saying for 20 years that we're being invaded by fighting age males. It literally makes no sense. You can't say that. You've been at war for the last 20 years. That's according to you, that's what's been happening. So, what's the change? What's the change? Yeah, now it's really war. Okay, now it's really war.
Conference. Thank you, Conference. The basic, ordinary hope of a better future for our children restored for millions. And through that, a Britain that has rediscovered the belief the togetherness, the pride to take control of its future. That's what we're building, conference. That's national renewal, a Britain built for
No
all.
little flags in you. They're trying to get Labour Party people just on with the flag, okay? We love the flag now, actually. We love the flag now.
But there is another path. We can call it the path of decline. But in truth, it leads to ruin, to chaos, to Britain being poorer in every sense. And it's a tempting path because it asks nothing of people, makes no demands, suggests no difficulties. All you need to do is listen to politicians who tell you there's a quick fix. A miracle cure,
dude,
tax cuts.
Switch reference? Hello? Fix everything easily switch reference? Is he referencing the... Okay.
Path. Because it asks nothing of people, makes no demands, suggests no difficulties. All you need to do is listen to politicians who tell you there's a quick fix. A miracle
Just
cure.
press the switch.
Tax
Just press the
cuts
switch.
that magically pay for themselves. A wealth tax that somehow solves every problem. The Brexit lies on the
Dude,
side of that
the
bus.
wealth tax mention? The wealth tax fucking snipes? Let's go. Let's go, Keir.
Click here for your new country.
Dude, literally, he's doing... It's the switch.
themselves.
It's the switch.
A wealth tax that somehow solves every problem. The Brexit lies on the side of that bus. Click here for your new country.
It's the switch.
We can all see these snake oil merchants on the right, on the left.
Dude, no way. Dude, Will, he's literally... This is good. Dude, Keir's raping. He's just like laid out like 6 different groups of people and now he's like, yeah, you're all fucking con men. Awesome. Awesome. Let's go. It's facts too. What you said, oh, fuck off in chat. This is some wealth tax retard in chat. Oh no, if we just do like a one-time tax of 5% on every single rich person, then there's not going to be a problem. Everything's going to be fixed in the whole world. It's just that it's the press... Just press the switch. Everything's going to be fixed if you just press the switch. Why has no one pressed the switch? It's just so easy. We could have pressed the switch ages ago. Like retards. It's just like so low IQ. It sucks, man.
Conference. None of them have any interest in national renewal because decline is good for their business. I mean, think about it. When was the last time that you heard Nigel Farage say anything positive about Britain's future?
Facts.
He can't. He doesn't like Britain. Doesn't believe in Britain.
He hates Britain.
Wants you to doubt it just as much as he does. So he resorts to grievance. They all do. They want to turn this country, this proud, self-reliant country, into a competition of victims, saying to you, to working people,
dude,
don't trust in each other. You can't fix this.
Yeah, cook
This
him,
is not a great country. But it is, conference. It is a great country. It will always be a great country. A decent, pragmatic, tolerant, reasonable country that throughout history has stood its ground, stuck by its values, and built its future without fuss. That's the Britain I'm fighting for, conference.
Dude, what even took... Biden won his election and then dropped out because his brain was fried.
Of resolve, a land of respect, a Britain built for all.
Okay. A strange comment in chat. Actually, this is just like that one guy who won the election, so it won't work. Okay.
And conference, I welcome the new US initiative to bring peace to the Middle East. I strongly support efforts to end the fighting.
No, okay, now you're saying incredibly low IQ stuff. This is some crazy lefty retardation coming out. We playing dumb. Kamala and Biden were basically the same candidate. Her election was running on the Biden record. No, they are different candidates. They are viewed differently by the American people with different popularity ratings and different views on what their policies were, and they were very different in their primaries. Okay? Kamala came in incredibly late after Biden had already nosedived the campaign with a terrible debate performance, and had to play from behind while already being an unpopular candidate that was kind of pretty far left in terms of like some topics that the American people don't like people being far left on. Like, it wasn't like she was just like healthcare. It was like BLM bail funds and shit that make people spaz the fuck out. So no, they weren't the same candidate, and that is like bottom level, actually sub-zero IQ analysis to say they were the same candidate. She was just running on Biden's record. What a delusional thing to say. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Firstly, also saying nothing. She was tied to, yeah, she was in Biden's government. Of course, Biden's record reflects on her to some extent. Yeah. Yeah. They weren't the same candidate. Read the message I'm replying to, Firsty.
Release every hostage.
Fucking retard.
Urgently scale up
What are you
aid
saying?
into Gaza. All sides must now come together to bring this initiative into reality, because we must restart the hope of a two-state solution, a safe and secure Israel, alongside the long-promised Palestinian state, a state that this country now recognizes.
But how can you? It's like so like you to say that basically the same cat. Kamala was a fucking, what is it, a DA from California, who was perceived as like a soft on crime, at least by the American people, perceived as a soft on crime progressive DA, right? Like the idea, people view the candidates the same way. They view, oh yeah, they just view Biden and Kamala as like the same person. They're just like the same person. They're just like, everyone sees them as the same person. Baffling, truly. Dude, Franklin Goodwin, wow, we have got some real retards in chat tonight. She didn't even run on a BLM bail fund policy. No, it's just something she retweeted, obviously. But it's still a scandal that was there in her public repertoire, right? That was there the whole time. It was one of many signals she put out that was like pro-BLM, kind of like leaning towards defund the police type stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Conference. Thank you, conference. Thank you. Conference, I will never give up.
But they were hammering up Biden's record, and the reason that matters is because the country, people's perceived buying power was low at the time. It's not because, oh, they see her ideologically the same as Biden. They see her as like the same type of person as Biden. No, she just also is dragged down by the perceived poor state of the country at the time. That's the extent to which her being in Biden's government, being part of Biden's thing matters. Her campaign was different to Biden's campaign. Her perception is different to Biden's perception. Like, it just is. Her, like, she had this whole career before being VP, you know, being in the primaries and shit, where she had distinguished herself from Biden, right? And those things are still there, just as much as the current state of the country is in people's minds. People still think of, oh, Kamala, like someone said in chat, Kamala said he was racist and went and worked for him. Kamala's defund the police. Kamala hates the police and wants to let criminals out on the street because she's a California DA. They don't like her because she's a black woman. They don't like her because, like, there's a million different reasons why people dislike Kamala more than they dislike Biden. Firstly, I'm not making statements on how good Kamala ran her campaign. Can you at least agree she should have had a better answer? Not a thing comes to mind. I'm not making a... What do you mean, can I admit she should have had a better answer? I'm not defending Kamala's campaign. You're saying that as if... Can you at least give this concession on how Kamala mismanaged her campaign? Yeah, Kamala lost. Yeah, I don't think she did great. Yeah?
Diplomacy. And I will never doubt British values. Rules that protect those in
But
need.
firstly, you're saying it as if you're arguing that I'm saying it's unjust that she was tied to Biden's record. It's just a truth that she was, to some extent, tied to Biden's record. What I'm contesting is the dude telling me that Kamala's campaign was purely an extension of Biden's campaign and that people saw them as indistinguishable. That's what I'm replying to, retard. All I'm disagreeing with is the idea that they were seen as indistinguishable by the public. Kamala's campaign was simply just an extension of Biden's campaign, and anything Biden said and any way Biden acted was entirely attributed to Kamala in the minds of the American voter throughout the entire election. They literally saw them as a one and the same person, identical fucking clones, which is obviously not true. They had different perceptions. You're fucking retarded. Go back and read the message, you downy fuck, okay? Go back and read the message, you stupid motherfucker.
Respect for difference under the same flag, the freedom to live and let live. I will never doubt that these values make us strong in a world that preys on weakness. How could I? The progress, the prosperity, the peace I've seen throughout my life, the journey I've been on, from a working class background to this, I owe everything to this country and its values.
So true, Jimmy, so true.
But working people, they're losing faith. They're ground down. Politics has made them question Britain. And can you blame them? They've been nothing but patient. They lived through austerity, Brexit, COVID, played by the rules, kept their side of the bargain. But time and again, politics ducked the challenge of renewal. Their high street, their pubs, their youth clubs, the places that shape a life, that create a common memory, struggling against the tide of decline.
Yeah, we'll go watch the Armin video.
That is why we must never...
I certainly know what's being argued. Look, let's run this out. I'm just explaining to everyone what the retarded point being argued is right here. So, the dude says, you might enjoy this, but this is just Biden all over again. He's not winning over the reform voters with this. He's not winning over lefties either. And I said, Biden won his election. And he says, are we playing dumb? Kamala and Biden were basically the same candidate. Her election was running on the Biden record. So now he switches it to records. This is about now record, when before it was about public speaking. This is about public speaking. Now it's about record. So it switches there. So we're saying that any piece of public speaking that Biden did was automatically attributed to the Kamala campaign in the minds of the American voter. That is the logic that we are going with. Is that any piece of public speaking that Biden engaged in was automatically attributed to Kamala in the minds of the American voter. Just delusional. It's just delusional. The only thing people know about from Kamala, the only piece of public speaking people remember from fucking Kamala was either coconuts and... what was the other one? It was, we're not going back. We're not going back. We're not going back. That's all anyone fucking remembers from Kamala.
Never find ourselves defending a status quo that manifestly failed working people. That's what I say to people who think it would be nice if we could just go back to politics before Brexit or the crash. And this does go back that far, conference. The global financial crisis is when we were exposed, when a new Britain should have been born. Complacent. That's the only way to describe it. Complacent. We place too much faith in globalization, the establishment across so many institutions, in hock to its lazy assumptions that immigration is all we need to give us the workers. Infrastructure will always be there because we built it decades ago. The world always on hand to give us the goods. It doesn't matter if our industry leaves. It doesn't matter if we don't train our young people. It doesn't matter if wealth creation is hoarded by just a few communities. Well, conference, look at our world now. Because in our age of insecurity, we can see now that it does matter. We do need to put our security first. We do need to unlock the potential of every community. We do need a more muscular state freed from the red tape that stops us building, growing our economy from the grassroots, renewing every town and city on these islands. It comes back to growth. So much of it comes back to economic growth. In fact, I'll say it now so there's no doubt. The defining mission of this government is to grow the economy, improve living standards, and change the way we create wealth. An economy that grows not just from the top, but from the grassroots. Because growth is the pound in your pocket. It is more money for trips, meals out, the little things that bring joy to our lives, the peace of mind that comes from economic security. But it is also the antidote to division. That's the most important aspect of national renewal. The way you grow an economy, not just how much, but who and where benefits, that can either build a nation or it can pull it apart. And in the world we must face, the threats we must defeat, Britain needs an economy that unites. Every person, every community, every great nation on these islands standing together, as so often in our past, facing down the threats of a volatile world. And it is a choice. You can exploit asset bubbles to distract from stagnating wages. You can balance the books by cutting long-term investment. You can cut taxes for the few whilst dismantling the infrastructure for the many. But the affordable homes that we built, the libraries that we opened, the Sure Start centres that gave so many families a better start in life, all in it together. That's what they said. Come on. The country they created, it's still around us today. Old and young, north and south, scrapping over the crumbs, draining the well of responsibility, the patriotic responsibility that we owe to one another. But there's another choice, Conference. You can choose industrial policy, government and business bringing the future closer, British graft backed everywhere, from the steelworks in Scunthorpe to the data centres in Essex and the wind farms of South Wales. You can choose to unleash British enterprise, strip out bad regulation, confront the blockers that strangle a thriving private sector. The most important thing we need for every community to stand more proudly on their own feet. You can choose to challenge the outdated dogma and say with one clear voice that public investment does not crowd out private, that we should invest more outside London and the South East, and that a more secure labour market with stronger workers' rights will be better for productivity. And Conference, you can choose to rebuild our public services, choose investment over austerity. That's the choice we made at the last budget. A hard choice, difficult decisions on taxation, but Conference, that's the choice that we made. Now, I want to thank every business in our country on this issue. We asked a lot at the last budget. I know that. I do think, in the long run, fixing our public finances, investing in new infrastructure, helping our public services off their knees, that will be better.
Okay, what are you saying? You're like so retarded. People calling it austerity. Like, were you here in the 2010s? Did NHS wait times go down in the 2010s? Did that happen? I mean, I must have missed that. I must have missed that one in the 2010s where Tories spent money that caused NHS wait times to go down. I must have missed that one. You must be. Sorry, that's part of austerity that I just didn't see. That's crazy.
Better for growth. But equally important, because of your contribution, we've taken a huge step on the path of renewal, a firmer foundation to take our country forward. More security, more respect, more opportunity. A Britain built...
Wow, it's truly, it actually might be, truly, I might see you as like one of the most subhuman people alive if you come into my YouTube chat on your Google account crying about the idea of digital IDs. Truly, you are the sort of person that should not be living alone. You should be in a group housing facility, I believe. I fear. A group care facility. It's really bad.
Built for all. A Britain built for all. Every decision conference...
Your YouTube account.
Every decision we took this past year...
On a Google service.
It's all been in pursuit of that
on your
mission.
Apple phone.
Changing the way we create wealth.
That has your cards and your banking information stored.
Giving people more control over our future.
Cloud
Take our
synced.
investment in defence. Undeniably good for growth.
But a digital ID,
vital
that's too far.
for national security and the whole of the continent. Impossible without really tough decisions on aid.
Don't put you in the home. Don't put you in the home.
Just look
Don't
at the
put you in
New
a fucking
Deal to
prison.
build Norwegian frigates. That doesn't happen
I'm going to throw you into
without
the
our
ocean, I fear.
investment. A decade of shipbuilding on the Clyde. That heritage, that pride, secure for future generations. Now, those frigates could have been built anywhere, but that was the old mentality.
Abigail Jones, there's like a solid 60% chance you're lying or wrong here. You almost definitely have Apple Pay or Google Pay. Most people have that. Most people use that.
That it didn't matter. But we want to build them here, in Britain.
You have linked all your shit together. Why are you lying? Why would you lie? You have linked all your shit together. I guarantee you have loads of OAuth shit between different websites where you've signed in with an account and you've said, oh, I give permission to access this data. You've done it a million times. Your information's everywhere. You've given your information to tens, hundreds, thousands of private companies where you haven't read any of the TOS or any of the end user license agreements. You've just signed off on it and passed it off. And now you're crying that there might be a number that you have to give when you go for a job. Wow, that's very low IQ. That is very low IQ of you.
To invest in that reputation, in those skills, in the talent of Glasgow and the Clyde. Our conference, 5 days after that deal, I went to the shipbuilding yard on the Clyde. I went to the canteen where the workers were having their lunch. And I stood in front of them and I said, thank you. Thank you for your hard work and your reputation that allowed us to win that deal. They were being judged against other countries, France, Germany, and the US, and they won.
That person exclusively uses Tails OS on hacked public Wi-Fi, actually. So true, so true.
They were proud. They said to me that this was the answer to the mantra that they heard. People who said British shipbuilding was dead. They told me how much it meant to them and their communities. And they were proud because they knew exactly what those frigates were for. And they were proud to contribute, proud that their community was chosen by an ally looking for a partner to defend our continent from Putin's aggression. And conference.
There's no opt-out for digital IDs. What information are you giving the government from a digital ID that they do not already have? Please explain. I'm interested. I want to know. I want to know. From the right to work digital ID, what information or what power will you be giving the government over you that you don't already have? That they don't already have? I would love an answer to this question. Please explain this one to me. Permission to work? No, they already have that power over you. Is the company they are partnering with, not the government? Okay. Well, what's going to happen there? What restrict? Okay, so what do you think's going to happen? Please explain to me. Please go for it. This is more or less, you guys watch Navarra Media, don't you? You've just watched like a video about Larry Ellison and now you're spazzing the fuck out and you think that private companies are trying to get your data so that they can make an AI supercomputer that's going to come to your house and rape you. And not, you don't just think it's, you know, Larry Ellison runs tech solutions that can make a bunch of money. So I see what's going on here. I see what's going on here. I do see the issue now. So please explain to me, what do you think is going to happen? Reform could just turn off non-UK citizens' rights to work. I thought the solution wasn't going to work. I thought digital IDs weren't going to work. I thought they weren't actually going to work to enforce anything. Wait, why have we suddenly changed? Now all of a sudden it's the ultimate power that Reform can use, just instantly stop a whole bunch of people from working. Okay. Wow, this seems like a really awesome policy. This sounds like a crazy policy. Simultaneously totally ineffectual and all-powerful. Navarro media viewers really sending their best at the moment. Holy fuck, man. It's rough. It's a solution for a non-issue. What's the non-issue? People being able to work here illegally? That is an issue. Many people in the country see that as an issue. That's an issue that many people vote on, that are going to vote on in the next election. And no, you're not even arguing it's a solution for a non-issue. You're saying there's evil, secret machinations that Larry Ellison's got with digital IDs, and they're going to use that data in evil, mysterious ways. That's what you're arguing right now. That's what you guys are actually arguing. I think a bunch of taxpayer money is going to be handed over to a US company for a badly implemented mobile app. It's going to replace already existing government gateway single sign-in. But it's not doing that. And government gateway sucks. Yeah, government gateway and all that shit should be replaced. Yeah, our fucking government services suck. What?
Or take our investment
It's not replacing government gateway. It should.
In childcare. 30 hours free for every child between 9 months and 4 years. A massive difference to the cost of living. Thousands of pounds back in the pockets of working parents because we made tough decisions, tough Labour decisions at the last budget. Now, this will help parents and carers...
Yeah, honestly, my biggest complaint about digital ID is it doesn't go far enough, frankly. Let's just be fucking real. Government already has all that information. You give all that shit to private companies, put good restrictions on it, put good guardrails on it, and it'll be fine. It should be centralized. Should be easy. Thank you for the 50 Australian dollars, James Patalam. Thank you. Estonia have it so you can actually use it to control your data with private companies more. Digital ID should go further. It should just go further. Anyone that's opposing it is like either a complete fucking troglodyte or living in the past. It's just the truth. It just is. Unfortunately, it's an inevitability. It will happen either in a year, or it will happen in 10 years, or it'll happen in 20 years. You might be dead, depending on how old you are by the time it happens, or you might be old and just seething about it. But it is inevitable. Digital ID is inevitable. 100%.
Back to work.
It just is.
Especially women. And that is good for growth. But fundamentally, it's for the children. Now, last year, Bridget and I went to a primary school in Nuneaton, and we got talking to the reception teacher. And she said that...
So you guys are saying bootlicker, but you guys literally give your whole lives over to private companies. Me saying, I want the state, which is accountable to the people, to give me an opportunity to control my data. You saying, I want private companies to run rampant. I'm fine just being a complete low IQ, brainless fucking retard who operates on impulse all day, every day, typing in my full name and address into a million different websites and then clicking accept every fucking day. I'm fine just giving that out. I just want those companies to rate me endlessly. That's you. That's you.
Some kids arrive in reception, reading books. Others are still virtually in nappies.
No, companies are not accountable to the state because many companies operate out of different countries where they are not accountable to your government. Such as if a company operates out of like Curacao or something, they might be completely fucking exempt from basically all laws.
There's similar stories right across the country. Inequality at age just 4, baked in for life. So our childcare provision is a game changer, giving every child the best start in life, every single child equal at the starting line of their education.
So you were wrong. So you were both wrong.
That's National Renewal Conference. That's why we made the tough decisions. And I make no apologies if they tilt towards working people, because it's working people who paid the price of Tory decline. That's why we invested in our NHS, fired up Great British Energy, stood up for British Steel, new protectors for renters, sick pay.
So I'm glad he's actually finally hitting some of the fucking wins. There needs to be more of this, because they have actually done so much since getting into government. Like, literally, it's the first time in 15 years that NHS wait times have gone down. I'm sorry, but, like, people need to fucking realize, like, it's like people just forgot how fucking bad the country has been for 15 fucking years. Even longer, in fact, since, like, 2008, really. But how fucking bad the country was. How it just got worse and worse and worse. And now finally there's some fucking movement. And people are actually seriously considering voting for reform. Your options are conservatives who have just like raped you into the fucking dirt for 15 years, been the most corrupt, despicable people on the face of the earth, handing out fucking PPE contracts to friends and their fucking companies they've got stakes in shit, just the most disgusting shit imaginable. Literally just raping the fucking country for 15 fucking years. You've got Lib Dems who are totally ineffectual and going nowhere. Greens who are totally ineffectual and going fucking nowhere. And then you've got Reform, who don't want to solve anything and just want to lash out a bunch of fucking brown people. Then Labour actually make your life better, and you're still considering going anywhere else. NHS wait times going down. NHS online service being launched. Saving the fucking steel industry. Like, what are Reform going to do? What are Reform going to do? Housing development, what are Reform going to do? The shit that actually makes people's lives better, day to day, it's being fixed. It's being improved. Everyone knows how fucked it is when someone you know has got to wait 6 weeks, fucking 2 months, 3 months to go to the fucking NHS. Everyone knows how fucked it is when you've got a doctor's appointment and you have to be up at fucking, you need a doctor's appointment. You have to wake up at fucking 8 in the morning and ring them the moment they open and be on the fucking phone desperately ringing, trying to get through and get an appointment booked. Everyone knows how fucked that is. Everyone knows how fucked it is when you need to go to fucking hospital and it's totally full in the waiting room. You have to fucking stand outside. And now that shit's finally changing. And people are still crying. It's crazy.
Life. So our childcare provision is a game changer, giving every child the best start in life, every single child equal at the starting line of their education.
Also, I'm so glad, dude, Wes Streeting basically said on both Sky and in his speech, he basically said the British Medical Association needs to stop fucking striking because of every policy we come in with. Every time we ask the doctors to do a little bit more, they go on fucking strike. You need to figure out which side your bread is buttered, because if we don't win the next election, you're getting fucking deported. So true. So true. Stop fucking crying about the NHS online service and get it done. If you don't like the NHS online service, there's hundreds of other countries you could be working in. Okay.
That's National Renewal Conference. That's why we made the tough decisions. And I make no apologies if they tilt towards working people, because it's working people who pay the price of Tory decline. That's why we invested in our NHS, fired up Great British Energy, stood up for British Steel, new protectors for renters, sick pay for the least well-off, fire and rehire finished, 0-hour contract scrapped, record investment in Scotland and Wales, rebuilding our schools, new homes, new towns, new train lines, publicly owned of course, spreading prosperity right across Britain. And a proper living wage conference, the culmination of a long journey for our movement.
Yeah, trying to fix the fucking rail as well. Oh my god, dude.
Thank you, conference.
Will train ticket prices finally come down?
Extending free school
If Keir
meals.
brings down train ticket prices, he will be the greatest PM of all time.
100,000 children lifted out of poverty. The first step on our journey to end child poverty. We have walked that road before and we will walk that road again. Because a Britain where no child is hungry, where no child is held back by poverty, that's a Britain built for all. But there's another cause that we must also take up, conference. It strikes to the heart of what we stand for and who commands our respect. People like my dad. I think by now you know what he did for a living.
See? Dude, look, that's way better. That was so concerning. It's like such a fucking bit with Keir that people say, oh, Keir's dad's a toolmaker, because he always says, my dad was a toolmaker. See, look, dude, he's making a little bit of a joke out of it.
It strikes to the heart of what we stand for and who commands our respect. People like my dad. I think by now you know what he did for a living.
Dude, we love Keir. We love Keir.
But then again, do you? Do you really know the skill, the craft, the precision that goes into tool making? Now,
I get it. That was good. That was good.
But the thing is, conference, the thing is, he always felt disrespected, my dad, undervalued by the nation because he worked with his hands. And I can see why. He worked hours and hours at night school when he was an apprentice. I went to Leeds University, had a good time. It's a good place to have a good time, is Leeds. And then when I came back, I officially became the first in my family to go to university. I was put on that pedestal. Working class families know exactly what I mean. I thought about this when I visited those frigates on the Clyde. The apprentices there, they took me on board. They showed me how they were rewiring it. Miles and miles of wire, difficult, high-skilled work, really complicated, and of course vital for our country. I thought about my sister, a care worker. She works with adults with Down syndrome. It's amazing work. I know I could never do it in the way that she does. Also vital for our country. And then I think about my brother. He was failed. He had difficulties learning. He was badly failed by the education system. He was put to one side, barely even seen. Now, conference, some politicians say, I want every child to have the same opportunities that I had. You hear a lot of that in Westminster. But that's not me. No, what I want is a Britain where people are treated with the dignity that they deserve for making different choices. Choices our country needs. Choices we should value. Choices that deserve our respect. And so, conference, while you will never hear me denigrate the aspiration to go to university, I don't think the way we currently measure success in education, that ambition to get 50% of kids to uni, I don't think that's right for our times. Because if you're a kid or a parent of a kid who chooses an apprenticeship, what does it say to you? Do we genuinely, as a country, afford them the same respect? Because we should, but I can't help feeling that my dad was right. So, conference, today I can announce We will scrap that target and replace it with a new ambition that 2/3 of our children should go either to university or take a gold standard apprenticeship.
Okay. That's a good target. Switching from 50% go to uni to 2/3 get either apprenticeship or uni. That's awesome. That's awesome. We just don't need more kids in uni, so...
Thank you. Thank you, conference. Thank you. Thank you, conference. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. There's way too much competition for like graduate jobs, and meanwhile, like, fucking electricians are making like 100K. Do you know what I mean? Like,
also announced that further education, so long a Cinderella service, ignored because politicians' kids don't go there. We will make it a defining cause of this Labour government, with higher standards in every college, the quality of teaching raised, more apprenticeships, more technical colleges, technical excellent colleges, qualifications linked to jobs, rooted in their communities.
awesome.
And as Rachel announced yesterday, a new guarantee, training, work support or an apprenticeship for every young person struggling to find work. That's young people back, the class ceiling smashed, the grafters finally included in our country's highest aspiration. That's national renewal. That's a Britain built for all. That's what I stand for, conference. And let me tell you, I also know what I stand against. And I have had enough of lectures from self-appointed champions of working people who want to shred our public service, level down workers' rights, crash the economy like Liz Truss. Politicians who lied to this country, unleashed chaos, and walked away after Brexit, who equivocate of Putin in Ukraine, who even now go to America and grub around for money, talking this great country down. No. No more lectures from them. Because Labour is the party for working people. Labour is the party for national renewal. Labour is the patriotic party.
Heat, straight heat. Straight heat.
Let me take you back to 1996. Wembley, the old Wembley, actually. I was there. It was that semi-final. Electric. We're all singing with one voice. Football's coming home. Now, of course, it didn't actually come home. No cheering at us. But, you know, it did feel like something was stirring in England that evening. An England that belonged to our grandparents and our history, but also to our children and our future. North and south.
Oh, so Morgan McSweeney cooked up something crazy, okay? And Andy Burnham and all this shit happening at once. Morgan McSweeney was feeling hot in that kitchen, okay?
Old and young, and England united by a flag that stood for all. Now, I'm not going to pretend I would enjoy it if England lost to Scotland or Wales. The Union does have some limits. But I can say I'm not just proud of the Union Jack and the Cross of St George. I'm also proud of the Saltire, of the Red Dragon. Proud of our Union.
He almost knocked his glass off a podium.
So proud of the Saltire, of the Red Dragon. Proud of our Union. The astonishing relationship between our four great nations. Four different nations, yes, but four nations that time and again have been through fire together, built so much together, a country forged by the solidarity of working people. So let's fly all our flags, conference, because they're our flags. They belong to all of us, and we will never surrender them. let us unite our country behind them. Because this is no time for dividers. This is the time for bringing the whole country together. That is how we will fight next year's elections as patriots of our great nations. That's who we are. That's who Ellen is, who Anas is, what we stand for. A campaign to renew Wales, renew Scotland and renew Britain. But then that's just the point. Because for me, patriotism is about love and pride, about serving an interest that is more than yourself, a common good. And the question I ask seriously of Nigel Farage and Reform is, do they love our country? Do they want to serve our country, all of it, our beautiful, tolerant, diverse country, every region, nation and city? Or do they just want to stir the pot of division because that works in their interests?
Thanks.
Do they truly believe in our potential, in our brilliance, in all the innovative wonders of our economy, from clean energy to creative arts? Or if a business looks a little too modern, do they say, as Farage said about Jaguar Land Rover, they deserve to go bust? And conference, when push comes to shove, do they really want to fix our problems and renew Britain? Or, as we've seen time and again, whether it's the SNP, the extremes of the left, or Reform and the Tories now, do they actually want Britain to fail? I think we know the answer to that question. So let me say this, because whilst we must come together to fight reform with everything that this movement has, we must go into that battle armed, not just with words and condemnation, but with action. And that means tackling all the problems that they prey upon. All the problems. Now, soon after I became an MP, I went to Oldham for a by-election up there. I was taken to a street to meet a woman who I was told had strong views on immigration. I knocked on the door. She invited me in. We had a cup of tea and a rich tea biscuit. And then, as we sat there, she got her photo album out and showed me pictures of her at the wedding of her Asian neighbour. She was proud that she was her neighbour and her friend. Now, I'm not the most patient person, as anybody in my family will tell you, and I started thinking, what is going on here? And then we finally got to it. She told me that a group of men from Eastern Europe had recently moved into her street. They sat on her wall, didn't put their rubbish out at the right time, and spat on the ground. To her, that broke the little but important rules of her street. She didn't like it. Then I realised what was really happening. And conference, what was really happening is that she, an ordinary working-class woman from Oldham, a Labour voter, felt that she had to prove to a Labour politician that she wasn't racist before she could even bring up the issues in her community. Now, I've carried that with me through all the bad years, conference. Whatever our intentions, we had become a party that patronised working people. And that is why we changed the party. Yet, conference, there are still some people who can't listen in good faith on this issue, who say we can ignore the crisis and our asylum system so long as we get the economy moving. I have to say to those people very directly, we will tackle this issue. The British people are not unreasonable. They're pragmatic, compassionate, tolerant. That's who we are. What people want from politics, that hasn't changed. They want more cash in their pockets, safer streets, opportunities for their children. and an NHS that's fit for the future. And yes, they want secure borders. And that is a reasonable demand. Now, we should always say plainly and with pride that asylum for people genuinely fleeing persecution is the mark of a decent, compassionate country. But secure borders are also vital for a decent, compassionate country. Controlling who comes here is an essential task of government. And there's nothing compassionate or progressive in a vile trade that loads people into overcrowded boats, puts them in grave danger in the Channel, and ultimately exploits human desperation and hope. So mark my words, we will stop this, we will smash the gangs, we will crack down on illegal working, we will remove people with no right to be here, and we will secure Britain's borders.
This is just so much better. This is just so much better. It's way less chasing reform around and way more, no, we actually have a complete vision for the country, if you know what I mean. It's like, yeah, people have legitimate concerns about immigration. It's like, it actually does, this time it actually does sound like people have legitimate concerns about immigration. We're going to address those. But then we have a cohesive Labour vision for where this is going. Yeah, but it's not a lie. But none of it's a lie. Keir doesn't have to lie. Labour don't have to lie. Because they actually make the country better for the average person. Unlike scum like the Tories. Scum like Farage. Seek to only, like, literally exploit and make people's lives worse for their own gain. Actual enemies of the people.
But there is a line. A moral line. And it isn't just Farage who crosses it. There are also people who should know better, sowing fear and discord across our country. And then when we call it out, they pretend that we're criticising reasonable concerns about immigration. We have seen that trick conference. So let us spell it out.
Farage is just, it's just the Trump strat. It's just like Bannon Trump strats. It's just flood the zone, lie all the time, act like a fucking retard, and make insane promises. That's it. That's the only power he has. It's just being a lying, like, racist con artist. That's literally all he's got.
Once and for all. Controlling migration is a reasonable goal. But if you throw bricks and smash up private property, that's not legitimate. That is thuggery. Thank you, Compton. Free speech. Free speech. Free speech is a British value and we have guarded it for centuries.
I mean, he's an MP.
But if you incite racist violence and hatred, that is not expressing concern, it's criminal. And this party, this great party, is proud of our flags. Yet if they're painted alongside graffiti, telling a Chinese takeaway owner to go home, that's not pride, that's racism. And conference.
Where was the speech?
If you say or imply that people cannot be English or British because of the colour of their skin, that mixed heritage families owe you an explanation, the people who've lived here for generations, raised their children here, built their lives here, working in our schools, our hospitals, running businesses, are our neighbours. If you say they should now be deported, then mark my words, we will fight you with everything we have, because you are the enemy of national renewal.
That's heat. Let's go. Let's go.
And it will be a fight conference. It doesn't get easier from here. And the tough decisions, they will keep on coming.
Yeah, I clapped. Yeah,
Look,
that's
we
heat.
inherited
That's
public
heat.
finances where the Tories piled up mountains of debt with next to no boost in productivity to show for it. Unprecedented. And in a world as volatile as ours, that's dangerous. It demands firm and fair decisions to control our debt. Now, this is the responsibility of government. I don't complain about it. I expect to be judged on my ability to deal with it.
Very good.
But it does mean that national renewal takes time, that it requires patience as well as courage, a determination.
I will say, look, I'm a real Labour supporter. Okay, I actually fist bumped the Indian cashier at the off license today. I don't know if you guys. I should tell you guys, but I fist bumped the Indian cashier at the off license today. I was grabbing my my rolling papers. He put his fist, for some reason he put his fist out. I was like, okay, yeah, fist bump the Indian cashier.
Never to risk economic stability. That solemn promise that we made to working people, our mandate, line 1 of our pledge card. Now, I acknowledge the temptation. You can see it all around the world. A desire to avoid reality, to neglect the long term, cast off the constraints and indulge
You're one of the good ones, you know that?
fantasy. That's what happened with Liz Truss. But it does not matter if it's unfunded tax cuts or unfunded spending. The result is the same. You lose control of the economy, and working people pay the price. And I will never let that happen again. I will never let that happen to working people with Labour. That is why we changed the party. Because a Labour Party that cannot control spending is a Labour Party that cannot govern in our times. Not with an ageing society, not with climate change, and not with the global cost of borrowing as it is now. And that is why the fiscal rules are non-negotiable. This isn't a game, it's not a tactic. Those rules protect working people, they protect our children's future. That's why our approach has always been more ambitious. National renewal isn't just moving money around, it's completely rewiring the state and the economy, unlocking the potential of everyone on these islands. On the economy, that's about understanding that proud working class towns, they want to be backed by investment, of course.
MI6 are creating a 764 style task force that will be targeting reform voters. That's the thing, that you could literally, if you did that, you could literally groom most reform voters into, like, stabbing members of their family or, like, committing violence that lands them in prison. Because, like, the average reform voter is, like, an impressionable, low IQ, alcoholic degenerate who is just looking for an excuse to act violent and abuse their family. Like, that is sort of like the average profile of, like, a generic reform supporter. So it probably is, like, it would be incredibly easy to do something like that.
But they don't want to rely on handouts or help. They want more power and control, more wealth creation in their community. That's how they stand on their own feet as proud partners in this project of our nation. And on the state, it's about understanding the opportunity of public service reform. That if we show people the respect that they deserve, if we give people more agency over the state, see them as our partners, then together we can take control of our future. We can live in a Britain built...
Dude, I clicked on Chad's stream this morning. I heard him whining about London the moment I clicked on his stream. And he's like... He says, I was going past this building and there was just like a load of brown people there. There was like a load of brown people there. And I was like, I'd understand. I sort of get it, you know. I understand if you lived in one of these areas and you saw that, you'd feel a bit like you don't belong. I was like, wait, what are you complaining about? He's like, well, it was just how you'd feel, you know? He's like, well, because they look different. He's like, oh, well, you're proper lived out. Oh, they just look different, yeah. I was like, well, what else are you complaining about? He's like, well, it just feel like you don't belong, wouldn't it? If you lived there, it'd feel like you don't belong. And then someone asked him in chat, oh, what did your mate think about it? Because he was visiting his mate in London. He said, oh, well, my mate's a Green Party cock, innit? My mate's a Green Party cock, innit? So you mean your mate that lives there doesn't have an issue with it, but you're saying, I would understand how you feel if you lived there. You would feel like you don't belong, even though his mate obviously feels like he totally belongs and totally feels fine. It was, like, so crazy. It was so crazy. And he literally is just saying they look different. Like, he didn't make any other complaint other than they look different.
For all. Take our NHS. I know how hard people work in our NHS. I see it in my family and I celebrate it at every opportunity. But the responsibility of this party is not just to celebrate the NHS, it is to make it better. And in decades to come, I want people to look back on this moment as the moment we renewed the NHS for a new world, just as we look back on that great Labour government after the war. Because, conference, a new world is coming. Artificial intelligence is transforming healthcare. I've seen it for myself. I've spoken to patients alive because of it. Stroke patients, where the precise location of a blood clot is identified in milliseconds. Disease is changing too. And with an older society, more people who have long-term conditions, we need to put patients in control of their health.
No, I don't think Chudder vote reform. I don't think Chudder's hard.
Closer to their lives. And put
I get it. Like, sometimes you see a bunch of brown people, like, wow, a bunch of brown people. Like, I kind of get what he means, like, kind of. But it's like, it is racism. It's just like, it's like a, you know, you've got, I feel that feeling, and I'm consciously aware that that is just a bias that I've got set in, you know. I'm looking at brown people with slight disdain because of some social condition, some bias that occupies that I just don't, you know, that just is there. And so I don't turn around and go, oh, my country's fallen immediately after, you know. So I get what he means. It's like, it's just a bit too close to the, my country's fallen immediately after.
In their hands, at their service. And that's what we're doing right across our NHS. But we have to keep up the pace. I've been there before, I know what it's like. If you stand still on public service reform, you do end up going backwards. So today, conference...
Well, the Indian rant was literally about how I have that feeling. I'm aware I have that feeling, okay? I'm being totally honest. I'm being totally honest and saying, yeah, that shouldn't affect your judgment. You shouldn't let the fact that sometimes you're bothered by the presence of brown people affect your political beliefs.
Every day the NHS delivers countless appointments, and for the vast majority, a face-to-face consultation is right, and we will never take that away from those who want it. But think about a single mum juggling kids and work, trying to find time to speak to a specialist, or someone in their later years living in a rural community, miles from a hospital, who needs a checkup for a suspected eye condition. Why not have a doctor see you at home, in your living room, on an iPad, talking to you? No queues, no 3-hour bus trip, no cancellation letters arriving after the appointment date. Wouldn't that be good, conference? And not just the conference, the better care. Think about it. That person with the eye condition, she could access the top specialist in the country, even if she lived miles away. Care no longer tied to doctors in your local area, which means you can see someone more quickly, at a time that suits you.
I mean, yeah, that's true. I'm very bothered by the presence of a lot of white people, too. That's very true.
So the system can deliver more, much more, up to
oftentimes more so.
8.5 million extra appointments.
In fact, just earlier today, I cut through an area with sort of like some grass and a bench on my way back from a shop. And I saw a very overweight woman with a child. I saw an incredibly overweight white woman with a child. And I looked at her with disdain.
Imagine what that could do to waiting times. And now, conference, imagine no more. Because today I can announce a completely digital NHS Trust, NHS Online, that will offer millions of appointments, convenient appointments, appointments you choose, a new chapter in the story of our NHS, harnessing the future, patients in control, waiting times cut for every single person in the country. That's national renewal. That's a Britain built for all.
Now the kids was white too.
Conference. Thank you, conference. That's why I just do not accept that Britain is broken. There are so many
I like to think it's more like
opportunities
reading
to make a
Catcher in the Rye,
difference.
okay?
The energy of the future, we're backing it. Carbon capture here in Merseyside, the Celtic Freeport in South Wales, offshore wind turbines made and built in Humberside, brilliant scientists in the heart of Middle England developing nuclear fusion. Is that Broken Britain conference? Look at the investment. Tech companies queuing up to back this country, saying that we are indispensable for the AI future. Now, those companies can invest anywhere in the world, but they're choosing us. They're choosing Hartlepool, Warrington, Belfast, East Midlands. Is that Broken Britain conference? Those 3 trade deals we struck with India, with the US, with our fellow Europeans, a signal to the world that Britain is back, that stability has returned. Is that Broken Britain conference? Or our ironclad and never-wavering support for the brave people of Ukraine, the yellow and blue flag flying on churches and village halls, the length and breadth of the country. Is that Broken Britain conference?
This shit politics E3, that's facts.
And then
Party conferences are my
and
E3
then
now,
conference,
unfortunately.
There's Melanie from Calderdale in West Yorkshire. She runs an organisation called Our Place.
I'm actually excited for the Greens conference next week, man. I think it's gonna be fucking hilarious.
Carers and people cared for, or just people who are lonely. Organising a couple of meetups a week. That doesn't sound like much, but for those people, it's everything. Is that Broken Britain? Or take Caitlin, down here, just 15 years old from Barnet. Now, Caitlin, like me, loves football, but there was no girls' team at her school, so she set one up, the first of its kind. And now conference, she plays for Camden Town Women, and that's nearly as good as Arsenal. She coaches as well at Potter's Bar Little Lionesses, just 15 years old. Is that Broken Britain? What about George here, who delivers food parcels in Telford with a smile? Debbie, who recycles school uniforms for hard-up parents in Halifax? Isaac, who scrubbed off that racist graffiti in York? The people who picked up the bricks and rubble in Southport? Alex, who raised money to rebuild the library in this city that was burnt down by thugs last year? Is that Broken Britain conference? Is this country of boundless creativity, of culture, history, music, art and sporting brilliance, of world-class educators, of fearless entrepreneurs, the grit of the Lionesses, the swagger of Oasis, the strength of the Red Roses, the beauty that stretches all the way from the South down to the Shetland Islands, a country that has weathered so many storms and never stopped building its future? Is that really Broken Conference, or can we renew it?
So I hate Oasis as much as the next guy. I hate Oasis. I love Blur. I hate Oasis. However, the thing is that Labour and Blairites have a specific history with Oasis. You know, there is a specific tie there.
Because conference. Thank you, conference. Because I'll tell you this, mere politics cannot break Britain conference. It's not in its gift. And while you may not see them on social media, people like this, they are the real face of Britain. Painting a fence, running the raffle, cutting the half-time orange, or even that gentle knock on the door that checks that your neighbour is all right. That's real Britain conference. Millions of people, miles away from Westminster, giving up their time, taking responsibility, making their community better. And so, conference, we will renew Britain with them. Because I've always said that people with skin in the game make the best decisions for their community. And so the money we invest in renewal, whether it's for youth clubs, peers, parks or chippies, we will give control, not to politicians, but to people, to those champions of national renewal. Because while I know nobody wants to hear this from a politician, the truth is we do all have a responsibility to change our country. There are limits to what the state can do on its own.
Swede are good too.
In the end,
I would take Swede
really
over races as well. That's
all
facts,
in it
actually.
together. Now, you will never hear that from the politicians of grievance. The attraction of unity. That's something they will never understand. They will never hold out their hand, as I do now, to people who may see the world differently, but put the progress of our country first. So if you are a patriot, whether you vote Labour or not, if you want to stand against grievance and renew Britain, then this is your fight too. Because even in a world this dangerous, I do think the politics of grievance is the biggest threat we face, because it attacks who we are, an attempt to turn us into a place where we look at our neighbours in our community, people who may or may not look different to us, and we no longer see them as fellow partners in the project of Britain. Now, the Tories, do you remember them? Conference? I don't know if they believed in grievance politics. And maybe they do now, when you see them turning away from the rule of law. It is honestly hard to tell. But one thing I do know, Conference, is that not once in 14 years did they ever properly stand up to it. But I will. I will fight with every breath I have. Fight for working people. Fight for the tolerant, decent, respectful Britain that I know. People say, Conference, that a nation like ours can't be a community, that it's too diverse, too divided. I reject that. That goes against everything I stand for, everything I've served, everything I understand about this great country that I love. So no matter how many people tell me that it can't be done, I believe Britain can come together, that we can pursue a shared destination, that we can unite around a common good. That is my ambition, the purpose of this government. End decline, reform our public services, grow our economy from the grassroots, and with resolve, with respect, with a flag in our hands, we will renew this country until we can say with total conviction that Britain is built for all. Thank you, Conference. Thank you. Thank you.
Damn.
Thank you, Conference. Fly those flags. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
This could actually be a turning point now. It could actually be. Everyone was saying, you know, if Keir's going to turn it around, it'll be at the conference. If he fucks his conference, it's fucking over. There's actually a chance. Crazy. Now let's see Farage's response. Let's see Farage's response to Keir.
Good afternoon. Well, the Labour Party conference is over. The second party conference of our governing Labour Party, a party that won the general election with a massive majority, but finds itself just 14 months in very deep and in many ways deserved trouble. It's been an extraordinary conference. I've been watching party conferences for half a century. Never before have I seen one name so dominate a conference, and the remarkable thing is it's somebody that isn't even a member of the Labour Party. Yes, it's me, Nigel Farage, and I thought the Mac cartoon on the front of today's Telegraph. So
this is just total cope. It's the first time they've spoken about him in fucking ages, and Lib Dems definitely spoke about him way more at their conference than Labour did. It's like, this is literally the best. Oh, you're obsessed with me. You're obsessed with me like some fucking white bitch. Just this is literally the response from Reform. You're obsessed with me. Also, you're trying to get me killed. You're queer. You're a total homo. Either you're winning or you're not. Like, are you on top of the polls and the most relevant threat right now or not?
The whole thing up rather beautifully. The sketch was two delegates leaving the Labour Party conference, one saying to the other, next year we're going to the Reform conference because they don't talk about Nigel Farage all the time.
He does it.
It has been
facts.
Obsessive. Whether it's the Home Secretary, whether it's the Health Secretary, it is a constant attack on me and what I stand for and what we as Reform UK, a party that has led the opinion polls now for over 100 polls. It's an attack on everything that we stand for and believe in. What I've learnt this week is that the government are incapable of beating us on our arguments. And as a result, the Prime Minister has decided...
Wait, but he is making arguments.
...to descend into the gutter and all of his cabinet with him. Let us be clear. Reform want illegal migrants deported from our country. And as I speak, a further 400 have crossed the English Channel.
Why is he faltering?
Let us be clear. Reform want illegal migrants deported from our country. And as I speak, a further 400 have crossed the English Channel today. Reform want the benefit system to be for UK citizens, for British citizens only, not for foreign-born nationals. Reform...
Okay, well, Labour's the same. Labour's new indefinite leave to remain policies say that you can't be claiming benefits. You can't have claimed benefits if you want to get ILR. That's part of the new ILR policy.
Want foreign criminals removed from our country ASAP.
Yeah, the ILR policy Labour have says if you've got any criminal record, you can't get ILR. So Labour think the same.
Labour says these policies are racist and...
No, that's not what Labour said. Labour said it's racist to revoke an ILR that is... to mass revoke indefinite leave to remain that has already been granted. To retroactively go back and strip all the ILRs that have been granted. That's what Labour are saying are racist, because that is you playing to the idea of remigration. That is you basically wanting a remigration policy. That is essentially what you want. And that is a racist policy. That's what they're calling racist. Not simply tightening immigration controls. Obviously, you can have disagreements about immigration controls. The racist part is stripping away the lives of people that have been here and been promised, you know, that they're able to stay here simply because of their background. That's the racist part.
Immoral. And by implication, Reform supporters, Reform voters, Reform sympathisers are racist too. Yes, if you think we should control our borders, you are, by the definition of the Prime Minister and his cabinet, all racists.
What he said,
now,
not what any of them said.
I don't normally worry about abuse being thrown at me. I've got kind of used to it over the course of the last few years. But to accuse countless millions of being racist is a very...
That's not what he said, dude. Look how they have to spin it. Look how they have to spin it. He said the policy was racist. It's a racist policy. It was very clear. He said, Reform's ILR policy is a racist policy. It's racist and immoral to retroactively strip the ILR from people who have been promised they're allowed to stay and made lives in this country simply because of their background. That is racist and that is immoral. That is very clear. It's very clear.
Low blow. Why? Well, this language would incite and encourage the radical left. I'm thinking of Antifa and other organisations like that.
Yes, the stormtroopers.
It directly threatens the safety of our elected officials and our campaigners.
Oh my God.
Frankly, in the wake of the
Keir's dangerous. Keir's dangerous. He's using dangerous language against us. He's using dangerous language. He wants me dead. Keir wants me dead. You're the enemy of the people, Nigel. Enemy of the fucking people. Holy shit. Dude, I didn't realize how good this was going to be.
Charlie Kirk murder. I think this is an absolute...
The Kirkinator mention.
...of our elected officials and our campaigners. And frankly, in the wake of the Charlie Kirk murder, I think this is an absolute disgrace. I used to think the Prime Minister was a decent man, somebody that I could talk to and chat to. We might disagree on worldview, but I thought he was a profoundly decent human being.
Well, he always knew you were scum.
I am completely
sure.
shocked at his behaviour. I hope when he wakes up tomorrow morning, he feels ashamed of what he has done. This is a desperate...
Why would you feel ashamed? There is a battle for the soul of the nation. You are the enemy of the people. You're a fucking snake oil salesman. Enemy of the people. Keir Starmer said you should be ready for battle, armed, not just with words, not just with condemnation, but with action. And that you are a racist, immoral, snake oil salesman, enemy of the people.
Last throw of the dice from a Prime Minister who's in deep trouble. A Prime Minister who can't even command the support of half of his own party. But I'm sorry to say, I now believe that he is unfit to be the Prime Minister of our country. His bizarre attempt this afternoon to invert patriotism and the love of flag was quite extraordinary. This is still the Labour Party of Gordon Brown. Remember that bigoted woman who talks about mass immigration?
There's no way. That's what we're reaching back for. We're reaching back for the 2009 Gordon Brown hot mic moment. There's no fucking way. For those who don't know, 15 fucking years ago, 2010. This is what we're going with.
It was just an ordinary day on the Labour campaign trail. The Prime Minister out and about meeting real people, including one voter who was invited to put her complaints directly to Gordon Brown.
You're a very good woman. You've served the community all the life.
I have. I've worked for the Rochelle Council for 30 years. And I work with children and handicapped children.
Well, I think working with children is so important, isn't it? So important. Have you been at some of the children's centres?
What I can't understand is why am I still being taxed at 66-year-old because my husband's died and I have some of his pension tagged onto my pension.
Well, we're raising the threshold at which people start paying tax as pensioners. But yes, if you've got an occupational pension, you may have to pay some tax, but you may be eligible for the pension credit as well. You should check.
No, I'm not. I checked and they said no, they can't do it.
Well, you should look at it again just to be sure.
How are you going to get us out of all this debt, Gordon?
We've got a deficit reduction plan, cut the debt by half over the next 4 years. We've got the plans, have been set out to do it. Look, I was the person who came in and...
Three main things what I was drummed in when I was a child with mine was education, health service, and looking after
Gordon Brown is
people who are
Prime Minister.
And that's what my life...
But there's too many people now who aren't vulnerable, but they can claim, and people who are vulnerable can't get claimed.
A local resident, Mrs Duffy, echoed the concerns of many about the numbers arriving in the UK from overseas.
It's 6 months. You can't say anything about...
Guys, listen, you hear that? They say, echoed the concerns of many about the amount of immigrants arriving from overseas. This is Sky News, mainstream media, in 2010. So anytime these reform fucking scumbags tell you, oh, they never even spoke about this on the media until Tommy Robinstein. They never even spoke about it on the media. If they did, it was just to call you racist. Sky News literally giving air to it, saying it, framing it as though it's a legitimate concern. 2010. And they want to fucking lie to you and say no discussion of this was allowed.
But a local resident, Mrs Duffy, echoed the concerns of many about the numbers arriving in the UK from overseas.
It's 6 months. You can't say anything about the immigrants because you're saying that but all these Eastern Europeans what are coming in, where are they flocking from?
1 million people come from Europe, but 1 million British people have gone into Europe. You do know there's a lot of British people staying in Europe as well. Look, come back to what your initial principles, helping people. That's what we're in the business of doing. A decent health service, that's really important, and education. Now these are the things that we have tried to do. We're going to maintain the schools so that we can make sure that people have that chance to get on. We're going to maintain the health service
and
so
what's
that
he
you...
going to do about students who are coming in now?
Just...
all this that you've had to pay, you scrap that, Gordon.
Which one?
To help students go on to university.
Or tuition fees?
Yes.
Yeah, but we've got 40...
I'm thinking about my grandchildren.
I know, but...
What will they have to pay to get into university?
You've got 40% of young people now going to university, haven't you?
More than ever.
More than ever. So you've got to have some balance. If you get a degree and you earn twice as much after you get the degree, then you've got to pay something back as a contribution. But there are grants for your grandchildren. There are grants, more grants than ever before. You know, more young people are going to university than ever before. And for the first year, the majority of people going to university are women. So there's big opportunities for women. And so education, health, and helping people. That's what I'm about. That's what I'm about.
Well,
you've had the chance.
And I hope you keep it up.
It's been very good to meet you.
Yeah,
It's been very good to meet you.
Yeah.
And you're wearing the right colour today.
It looked as if the two had parted on good terms, but Mr Brown was still wearing the microphone that Labour had requested Sky News attached to his lapel.
That was a disaster. Well, just... Okay. Should never have put me up with that woman. Whose idea was that?
No, I didn't see.
It's Sue, I think. They're just ridiculous.
I'm not sure they'll go with that one.
They will go in.
What did she say?
Oh, everything. She's just a sort of bigoted woman. Said she used to be...
Bigoted woman.
It's ridiculous. They will go in.
Oh no, he called her a bigoted woman. Oh no, what a terrible fucking person. And that's what Reform is still crying about to this day. That's what Farage is crying about now. Blaming Keir for, I guess.
But the love of flag was quite extraordinary. This is still the Labour Party of Gordon Brown. Remember that bigoted woman who talks about mass immigration? It's still the Labour Party of Emily Thornberry, who thought the Cross of St George on a van in Rochester was something truly awful. It's a Labour Party that could never accept any sense of English identity, even if it was more tolerant of Scottish or Irish or...
Okay, so that's what we go. We're going with going even more hardline far right. We're doing like straight up like the dog whistle shit, going English identity. Okay, Farage. Okay. I'm sure that'll play well. Okay. I feel like Reform are making unforced errors. I think this is an unforced error.
Welsh identity.
Even, you know, even Tommy Robinstein supporters, I think see themselves as like British first. You know, they see themselves as part of the United Kingdom. They see themselves as British. It was Unite the Kingdom. You know, they do see that English identity. They do see that Scottish identity. They do see the Welsh identity a little bit. But I think first and foremost, most people here, you know, see themselves as British. That is what comes first. There are obviously nationalist groups in each region that don't see it that way. But broadly, I think that is just true.
Starmer says, I don't like or love this country. Well, let me say this. For 30 years, I've fought for British sovereignty. I fought for us to be a self-governing nation. Why? Because I always believed the best people to govern Britain were the British people themselves. And him? Well, he, of course, didn't like the vote. The greatest result, the biggest democratic mandate ever given in this country, when in 2016 we voted Brexit. Now, he spent the next few years trying to overturn that result. He doesn't believe we should govern ourselves. He's happy, be it Brussels, be it the UN, be it a series of foreign courts. He's happy for us to be governed from there. He does not believe in Britain.
Wow, we got so much of our national sovereignty back. We're leaving the EU, didn't we? Like, we can't instantly decline asylum claims from asylum seekers that have already been denied by another EU member state. Yeah, that really helped our country. That really helped our country, didn't it, Nige?
Not believe in the Britain that most of you out there believe in. And his total level of denial over broken Britain is quite extraordinary.
Bendy bananas?
We all know
bananas?
The roads are clogged in a way they never were before. We all know you can't get a GP appointment. We all know...
I mean, so this is just not true. Like, again, waiting times on the NHS are going down for the first time in 15 years. I mean, it's been pointed out a million times, but they actually got twice the amount of GPs they were aiming for, they recruited in the last year. They exceeded their target by double. This is just like totally untrue. The idea that public services are just getting worse. Now, they were constantly getting worse under the Tories. We are actually starting to turn them around now. That is what Labour's doing. That is... like, there have been a success in that way. You can cry about immigration if you're like a super hardline, far-right fucking idiot. Because really their policies on immigration are quite sensible. But public services, you can't complain about. Not at all. Finally turning around after 15 fucking years of rape.
That crime is out of control. So much so that here in London, men don't wear watches. Women...
So this is just blatantly untrue as well. Across all London boroughs, there has been a 12% drop in the last year of violent crime leading to injury. Across all London boroughs, like an 8,000 crimes drop or something in violent crimes leading to injury. The idea that London is this wasteland where you just get stabbed if you walk outside. Total delusion. Complete fiction made up by someone who fucking hates our country. Total enemy of the people.
Don't wear jewellery and don't get your mobile phone out, otherwise somebody on a moped will take it. Britain is broken and it needs fixing. And our vision for the future is the positive one. We believe that we can do it. This Labour conference lacks any vision, and we are going to continue, I'm sorry to say, in economic, social and cultural decline. But Starmer is right about one thing. We are facing a big fork in the road. He is a human rights lawyer who will bow down to foreign courts and to outdated treaties. And he has no idea of the division that open borders have caused within our communities, or indeed the anger and a sense of unfairness that people feel over two-tier policing and two-tier justice under two-tier care. What he and the rest don't understand, and the reason we're leading in the polls, is this country has had enough of a failing, gutless political class. It wants real change. Now look,
and that's what we're getting.
I'm not a vindictive person in any way at all, but Reform will teach Keir Starmer and the Labour Party a lesson next May. Next May are our equivalent of the midterms, when the whole of Wales, Scotland, London, and many others...
You hate your country. Why are you talking to Americans right now in your fucking Starmer response? You're a fucking traitor. Fucking absolute scumfuck, traitor, piece of shit. Why are you talking to fucking Americans? Our version of the midterms? What the fuck is a midterm? Frog cunt. What the fuck is a midterm? Cunt. Seriously.
Other parts of the country will go out to vote on the first Thursday in May. We will teach Starmer a lesson next May that British political history will never forget. I am now, as a result of this week and the abuse that has been heaped upon our supporters and our voters, more determined than ever. Don't underestimate that.
Wow. What a fucking wretched cuck traitor. What a disgusting subhuman cuck traitor. Bullfrog Bullfrog fucking cuck traitor. Yeah, Charles. Charles just go with treason. HD and Q this guy right now. Charles, HD and Q this guy. Okay, stop.